What do you got?
David just said, when he took this job, he was already thinking about the possibility of having Juan or pursuing Juan. How far back was it first the possibility or something that you were interested in your eyes?
Listen, I knew, you're always looking over future free agent lists and going, well, who might be available down the road. I was so focused on 24, I didn't really get focused on free agency until after season.
And then,
well, I mean, he was clearly the number one free agent, and so the opportunity to get a generational ball player, you don't get those opportunities often.
You signed some big name guys before. You pursued big name guys and not signed them. What did you learn from those prior negotiations that you could apply to this one?
Well, I mean, who'd I go after? Obviously Francisco, right? I mean, obviously, a superstar in his own right. This negotiation was different, right? And we had traded for Francisco, and we got to know him, and so it was slightly different. And we signed him actually before he actually reached free agency. And so, but I would say this is the biggest one that we've done. And so, glad I was successful.
From a business standpoint, what made that number comfortable for you from a business standpoint?
I mean, it's one thing I've learned a long time ago. If you want something that's amazing, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's never going to be comfortable. And so I always stretch a little bit, because I know that's what it takes to get it done.
What are some things that Alex?
Evolved? When did you realize that it was going to get to that level financially?
Probably a few days before that.
And did that surprise you?
It's like weird because you're trying to adjust to wow, I mean, this is a big number. I mean, does this make sense? And so, there was enough time I can think pretty well on my feet and adjust pretty quickly. It's what I do for a living, right, in the markets. And so, listen, I always say I don't create the world. I got to live in the world that's being created around me. I wasn't the only bidder, so that was the market. And so, lucky enough that he chose us.
What are some things?
Why did it make sense? Ultimately, when you look at it, why did Juan Soto at that number make sense to you?
It's really hard to, when you get to those numbers, it's really, you're in the stratosphere. And so you got to make a judgment call that this is really going to matter to the Mets and be something that's going to drive, our goal to win championships. And so to get a player of this caliber is really unusual. So once again, you got to step a little bit further than you would expect.
Steve, what impressed you after you met with him in person?
He's just a good guy, just loves baseball, right? He just wants to play baseball. He loves his family. That's important to him. Those are really nice qualities. And
What were the most important components you wanted to include in your recruiting process and the points you wanted to get across?
I wanted to get a point to him that, we're good people, right? And that we care, and that we want to win a championship. And that, I'm always accessible. If he ever wants to sit down and talk to me. And I say that too. I was in a town hall with my hedge fund today, and I have 3,200 employees, and I said that, my door is always open. Now, most people don't take advantage of it because I'm the boss, right? Nobody wants to talk to the boss. But that's how I operate. And I operate that way with Juan Soto, and I operate with somebody, a junior analyst at my hedge fund.
And how did you get that point across? What did you include so they got together?
Well, I'm just explaining how who I am and how I operate and how I think about things. Like I said right here, I actually care about people. I care about what they think, and if I can make them happy, even better.
Did anybody in the town hall ask about Soto?
What's that?
Did anybody in the town hall ask about Soto?
Oh yeah, they wanted to know. Of course they did. It's a big deal to the fund too, right? I mean, listen. Whenever you meet somebody, they want to talk about the Mets before they talk about financial markets.
David said at one point, do you think it sends to other owners in the industry, free agents, that you just signed the largest contract in sports history?
Well, like I said, I wasn't the only bidder, right? So I don't know if there's a message being sent. Just that when you get an extraordinary player like this, I mean, this is different. And, maybe the rules don't fully apply.
Soto mentioned that. Happy to hit behind Francisco Lindor, but he also mentioned filling out the lineup.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see as
magnitudes?
I leave that to David, right? I mean, if I were filling out the lineup, the Mets are in trouble. Okay? I mean, I do this as as a hobby, but he does this, every minute of the day. So I leave that to him.
That being said, you have a personal relationship with Pete Alonso. What is your appetite to bring him back?
Yeah, listen, we think he's a great Met, and we're still engaged. And we hope that he stays as a Met.
What does still engaged mean? Is that? I mean,
Well, I'll leave that to David, but listen, he's entitled to go out and test his market and see what it is, and hopefully, we'll get there.
See, to what lengths does this move go toward making New York a Mets town?
Who knows? My view is this is such a big city, right? There's plenty of room for both of us, right? So, I'll let the fans determine that.
But you want to win championships, plural.
Championships.
Plural.
Yeah, plural.
They're one of the teams in the way.
Yes. Well, that's always the case. There's always somebody in the way.
But they're annually a team in the way.
Okay, well, guess what? They're in the American League. I don't have to face them to the World Series. Okay? I got the Dodgers, right? And the Dodgers are equally formidable.
How many World Series do you think you'll win with Juan?
Well, 15 years. Let's put it this way. He asked me, over the next 10 years, I said I'd like to win 2 to 4.
He asked you that when?
At lunch. One of our lunches. There's only 2 of them. So.
First lunch or second lunch?
I don't remember.
Were you in LA or Florida?
I think it was the second one.
Okay.
Why was it important to have him come to the house in Beverly Hills rather than go to the hotel?
Because we're going to some restaurant. I don't know. I didn't know what the atmosphere would be. Food's better than this.
What were your takeaways after that second meeting about Juan's personality, with him asking you that question? What other questions stand out?
Well,
as most
something. He's a
impressive?
detail-oriented guy, and he's about to commit to somebody for 15 years. If you were going to commit to somebody 15 years, you'd ask a lot of questions, right? You want to know. You want to know who are you, what the team is going to, what's their philosophy, how do they think about things, right? Because now you're tied at the hip.
How does this one transaction impact the rest of your offseason?
Well, I'll leave that to David, but we still got stuff to do. And so, we'll see what it looks like when we're done.
See, much has been written about Soto and Sweet.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide to include it in the package? Did he ask for it, or did you?
We included it right from the beginning. Okay, that was a request, and we included it at the beginning.
And you were aware that Soto had a problem with the Yankees?
I was unaware. This was he made a request. I was happy to provide it.
See, why was it important to have your father-in-law?
Because I wanted him to see that I follow that every game, every home game. I wanted him to see how important baseball is to this family. And Alex grew up with one TV in her apartment, and that Met game was on every night.
Thank you very much, Steve.